I'm gonna have to like pop out for like 5 minutes to get my dinner.
Okay.
So.
You opened it. We paid.
It's really hot down here. It's freezing. It's cold.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My fire's going full pelt, and it's only 21 degrees in here.
Yeah, it's only
Yeah, I know
minus
what you
one. It
mean.
feels fucking
My
cold.
fire's going full pelt, and it's only 21 degrees in
I
here.
even have to get my blanket
Yeah,
out.
that's what I
Oh
mean.
shit.
That's D-Live. D-Live wasn't muted.
Oh shit. Hi.
We've gone old school now. We're on D-Live Rumble. Does everybody remember D-Live? Do you remember?
Yeah. Do you remember the good old days?
But what was that other one? That was it. Stream.me.
Stream.me,
People were
that's
using
dead.
that.
That's dead. You can't stream to that anymore. Evening.
Fucking dead, you cunt. Don't say
Live
fuck
on
or bugger.
Rumble, D-Live. If anybody remembers D-Live, I think that's Sir Hemmingford Grey at D-Live.
Next week we'll be on Twitch, and then a week after that we'll be on OnlyFans. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
OnlyFans.
Oh, can we use Russia's VK streaming platform as well?
Oh
Why did
shit.
this one come
Just
up? That shouldn't have come up. Was that?
Hemi's media empire starts here.
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Lublus spasiba Russia. We are talking today about UFO.
I did set up a live.
As long as they talk,
the live
as long as they
stream's
talk
come out
this
a bit
way.
wrong. It's come out as 2:04 again. So
as long as they talk in this way,
But we are live.
then
on Rumble.
the Russians will understand me. Hello, I am
Hello.
Russian, just like you.
I am Ivor. Welcome to my channel. In Soviet
There's
Union days.
modern apps running on Windows 2000. It seems that the YouTube understands what I'm interested in now.
Are we live on Rumble?
Rumble check.
I'm going to follow the one on Rumble. That's my favourite instance of this stream.
It says we're live.
Oh, right, that's right then. That's fine. For some
Yeah, we
reason-
are live. We are live on Rumble.
For some reason.
Hello,
it's got-
Rumbleites. Is that what we're calling them? Rumbleites?
Rumbelos.
Rumbelos.
Good evening, Rumbelos. Good evening and welcome, Rumbelos.
You won't have to put up with 30 minutes of hearing impaired content for this week.
Yep. No deaf bit at the
Oh,
start.
It says the stream is 204 TBC.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's come out as the wrong stream. It didn't listen to me.
Oh, is that
Wait, that was last week's stream. Are we going
Is
back
that
in
because
time?
you set a live stream?
Last week was British
Oh, is
Bigfoot 205. Yeah.
I know what happens, right? You have a default live stream. What you're supposed to do if you want to do another one is you're supposed to make a new live stream instance and then
You
do it. But
fucking
what
get
a
me.
hassle that
Oh,
is.
no, you've done it, haven't you? You've done the NASA thing. You've taped over the fucking episode, haven't you?
Taped over the moon landing again.
He's gone and done it. This is how. Oh, now you can't blame NASA for that. It's
You
so
didn't
easy to
bury
do,
the
right?
bodies.
I can never hear you say that NASA taped over the moon
Yeah.
landing footage again after you've just done the.
Right,
Yeah, they've got an
so-
excuse now. Just point
yeah,
to
so
you.
for some reason we're doing 204 again, but we're not. Oh
Yeah, cool.
It looks like all of it's. Hold on, let's see if can I edit this.
Chaos 243 in the Rumble chat says, "Let's say fucking bugger," which you can do on Rumble.
Yeah.
So I too am gonna say.
We're streaming to D-Live and other places. 204.
Yeah.
There we go.
206, and that is time is. Is this a song? Slipping, slipping, slipping. I thought it was a song.
Time keeps slipping into the future. Do 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 do. Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, so we're called Time is Slipping, Slipping, Slipping this time. So I shall change the title. I haven't announced we're live on Twitter either yet.
Oh no.
Right, so it's saving. So that should be because I reused the template. So should that that should be sorted now? Yep, there we go. Time is slipping. We're all. It's all good.
Oh.
Right,
Steve Miller
you know-
Band.
Oh, well, that
Is
makes
he dead
sense.
as well?
Freeman used to play it on his show. Time
Right,
keeps
throwback.
slipping into the future.
What's your favourite Steve Miller Band track, Hobbit?
Probably that one, because it's the one I'm most familiar with.
Take the Money and Run is his best, absolute classic. That is. Don't forget to do thumbs up and all of that type of stuff. I'm gonna start being the Ed Miller Band. Fucking thumbs on form. Right then. So, do you want to start talking about time is slipping a bit?
Right, so let's blow all 5 minutes of content I've got in the first 5 minutes, shall we?
That's okay, because I've found some more.
Oh, all right then. Yeah. So the thing is, what if, right? We know things aren't in the same space, because if they were, it would all be a jumbled mess. So, like, you know, when you travel in the realm, you can go to like the north to Scotland or as far south as Cornwall, and that's the extent of our world. And I do hear myths about this so-called Ireland, which, you know, to me sounds less credible than Flat Earth, because, I mean, honestly, I've seen Irish people, but I've never seen an island. But anyway, point being is we've established that in this world you can travel in space, and that certain things are in different spaces. But what if things were at different times? And you're like, yeah, but what does that mean? I mean, of course, things that were in different times, they were back in the past. But what if things from the past, which should be in the past, are actually not there, but somehow they've ended up in the present or the future? And one example I've heard about this is, I wonder if there's even someone wrote a story about it. I'll tell you the stories that's told to me. So in somewhere near Seattle in the United States, as opposed to Seattle in the British Isles. Do we have a Seattle?
Not as far as I know. I haven't come across one.
I know the Americans nick all our place names themselves because they're an imaginative arseholes.
There's like,
but
they got 4 fucking Northamptons, isn't there? There's about the same of Birmingham's, isn't there?
But Birmingham, Alabama.
Imagine that, all of those Birminghams, like more than one, but
Scarborough.
One Birmingham in England is bad enough, but imagine all of those Birminghams as well.
Oh, correct. Yeah, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Isn't it amazing?
Sorry,
isn't it
there's
amazing
just
how Rumble doesn't moan as much as YouTube? YouTube's like, oh, you're giving us too much data.
Rumble's just like, LOL, give me all that data. I'm just going to ignore most of it.
Nom, innit? I hate nom. I don't
Yeah.
know why I said that.
Oh, well, I blame the mind parasites. Oh, by the way, we're sponsored today by Black Seed Oil and Wormwood.
Is that where the
Yeah,
black
black
goo
seed
comes? Is
oil.
that where the black goo comes from?
This Latin name is Nigella sativa, and it's an antiparasitic.
Is that where the black goo comes from, Hobbit? From
Yeah, sure, why not?
Files.
And also, Chaos 243 says Wild Mountain Honey. That we're brought to you by Wild Mountain Honey.
Oh, what's
Yeah.
that?
Wild Mountain Honey.
It's honey from wild mountains.
Yeah.
It's just popped up here. Russell Brand's talking about it on Rumble. Have you noticed Elon Musk had some words for this for the people that were boycotting him, and also Bob Iger particularly. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I didn't realise. I haven't heard Elon talk all that much. He's very fucking weird, isn't he?
Haven't you noticed this before?
No, like I say, I haven't seen him talk that much. I'm Elon Musk, and I talk a bit weird. Like that. How can he be a genius? He's like, I just imagine he's like. You ever seen that? Is it Dave, that one with Eddie Murphy, where he's the pilot of the big robot that's a normal sized person? I just imagine the one in there is like drunk and.
It's like, I wonder if it's almost like, you know how Boris Johnson did that, oh, look at me, I'm a buffoon, I'm not dangerous. Is it a
Yes.
cultivated incompetence?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's misdirection.
Yeah. Is that so? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just pretending to be retarded. Is that what we say? Is that what?
Yeah, it's
Elon's
like the
doing?
Prestige. It's like that. It's like Chinese guy in the Prestige. Yeah.
Not David Bowie in the Prestige, then.
Oh, it's a Chinese dude. Yeah.
Apparently,
around
Elon
the
talks
fishbowl
funny because
wherever
of
he
the
goes.
Asperger's.
Oh, is he Aspergerous? Aspergerous?
Is he an Aspergerer?
Asper.
Oh, Asperger's, as the Americans call it.
Yeah. Asperger's.
Asperger's.
And cilantro. I bet.
Oh, yeah, on the which you get from a bodega on the sidewalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cilantro. Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna go to the.
Oh,
bodega.
I'm a bit thirsty, and because I've got to carry this water bottle around with me because I'm a big baby. Can you fill up with Maine's municipal water from your faucet, please?
Faucet. No,
Because I've got to drink 2 pints of water every hour, or I will die.
Why do we use fucking faucet? Like,
Faucet.
Muskie's a bit like
Faucet.
Zippy from Rainbow. Nailed it. Jojo Gizmo.
Oh, yeah,
nailed
he
it
is,
on the
isn't he?
YouTube.
Hello, I'm Elon Musk. Well, I've made this new car called Cybertruck, invented by Elon Musk, age 38 and a half.
Does that mean Jack Dorsey was George? I'm in charge of Twitter.
fucking hell.
I'm a pink hippo.
What's he up to now?
I don't know. Fucking cum guzzling somewhere. I don't know.
Mm.
Right. So
So
anyway,
yeah,
we had 2 seconds
Now,
of content
time-
from your Hobbit, and then I interrupted.
no, that's okay. The thing is, do you remember that episode of Star Trek where it's like the Mobius strip? It's like, so we might have been over this region of space before. We may have been here once, twice, 10 times, hundreds of times. We don't know. This content this meme will get rehashed once, twice, hundreds of times. We'll never know how often it gets rehashed. So the story that was put to me, which really what I could have done, but I'm getting some messages from one of our mutuals I'm responding to. By the way, not emo. Spurgs has been told to man the fuck up, and I think once he's done having his sulk, he'll be back.
Yeah.
So now, yes, Seattle. There's a Coke machine. A Coke machine? Yeah, that's what they call vending machines that sell Coca-Cola. There's a Coke machine in Seattle,
Coke vendor.
and it will vend you proper Coca-Cola from like stuff before the 1980s. It comes in a 1970s bottle,
Nice.
and it takes 75 cents, and then it dispenses you a bottle.
Original recipe, the one with the cocaine in it.
Well, whatever they were having in the 1970s Coca-Cola. So, I don't, point being is it's got sugar in it. It hasn't got corn syrup like the American stuff does.
Mm.
And as a consequence of this, or rather, no, nobody's seen the machine ever being restocked, and no one really knows why it's like.
Because it might be one of those things. Oh, nobody knows how this is done.
Well, the thing is, after a while, it got like when it got notoriety. That's
Has
when
it got the pre Mandela effect Coca-Cola logo?
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't.
Yeah.
What's the pre? Oh, I don't know. What's
one of the Mandela effects is Coca-Cola, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know what Coca-Cola is supposed to look like. The ones which I know is C-3PO's leg. It's supposed to be all gold, and Jaws's girlfriend had braces, and even ChatGPT says, yeah, she's got braces. That's why, like, you know, they have a rapport with one another because Jaws obviously he's got funny teeth too.
So carry on a bit. I'll just
yeah. So really, the thing is, isn't that interesting? You know, it's a machine and it's got an inexhaustible supply of original Coca-Colas, and if the machine still existed, I'd say somebody in Seattle ought to go to it and buy a bunch of this Coca-Cola, and then they could distribute it to people. There's a midget inside making the cola. Yeah, why not? But
Anything's possible these days.
So here's
the thing is, I just thought
on stream now. I'm putting the 3 versions of the Coca-Cola logo.
Well, I mean, one of the things I thought about this
so
is
the hyphen should be at the top. So that's where the hyphen should be.
The hyphen should be at the top. It's in the middle, and it's also at the bottom, but it's been turned into a tilde.
Yeah.
I've always known the Coca-Cola logo to have the dash in the middle.
Yeah, well, you're wrong because it was at the top.
Wrong.
Oh well, maybe in your timeline, but I don't. It just, to me, it just seems odd having like a little dot after the A and not a dash. So yeah. But the thing is, right, and you'll be thinking, oh, well, that's, just a fanciful urban myth, and it probably is. I mean, it sounds a bit out there. I mean, surely it would gain more attention, like, hey, look, it's this vending machine, and it's giving out proper Coca-Cola from the 1970s, and it tastes good. It's not like, oh, this is rotten soda pop. It's like proper good stuff. Now, I thought about this, and oh yeah. There's like videos of people drinking Tab like 20 years after it's been discontinued and vomiting.
Oh.
So, yeah. Is Tab like Crystal Pepsi? Yeah, that's it. Tab and Crystal Pepsi.
Tab was Coca-Cola's.
Yeah, that's it. So Tab was like Coca-Cola, but without the colouring.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember.
And I'm told the original... it used to have caramel colouring in these colas is because, originally the process wasn't very pure, so the caramel would just hide all the discoloration. But then when, obviously, by the 70s, they're highly refined, so they're like, why don't we just make a clear version of this, which, it's got all the flavour and taste, but just not the colour. And it wasn't as popular for some reason. I don't know. Maybe people associate the colour with some sort... who knows? Point being, it got discontinued. And so this story sort of prompted me to think to myself, well, there's probably times when people have gone into the past and they've not realised it. Or you've handled something from the past that shouldn't be there. Like, the man from Tower Red will probably come into this at some point, but... have you ever looked at like the coins you've received? And I look at coins I get because I'm not as much as English, but I do like looking at coins. And if I get any which I find are interesting, I hold on to them. Like I've got a €1 coin which I keep on me. Hopefully, no, I did take it out of the Jag. In other news, I scrapped the Jag. It's now, hopefully the gearbox and the engine are serving another car, and the headlights as well, I hope. Actually, nearly everything from that's fine. It's clutch and bushing, and the electronics is the bits which are going wrong. But anyway, point being...
you think the death of Henry Kissinger was to balance out the death of the Jag? Yeah.
Yes, it is. That did cheer me up when I heard about it. Point being, I've got this €1 coin, and it's got a Maltese cross on one side, and I keep it because I think the Maltese cross looks cool. But have you ever because I know dimes, or is it nickels? They're similar to a 5p piece, and there have been times when I've been handed like a dime or a nickel in.
I think it would be a dime. I think a dime's 5 cents, isn't it?
I don't know. Why do they have to call these words which don't...
A nickel must be a penny, because nickel would be the maker.
No, I think their pennies are pennies. Like they've got... I've seen a 1 cent coin before, and it's called a 1 cent coin, and it's copper, and it's about the size of our penny. But it is just with some of the other ones. Do they have
a nickel's 5
cents?
Really... So a dime must be 10 then, is it? Yeah.
Well, they've got a quarter as well, so that's...
The Latin for 10 is something like dime, isn't it?
It's den. No, it's den.
Yeah, the number 10.
But...
is a dime.
Alright, fair enough. Yeah, but point being is there could be times when you've received artifacts from a different timeline and you don't realise it. And one of the things which would be most like that is a coin. So there's probably people unwittingly have accepted a coin from an alternate reality or an alternate timeline. Like, imagine let's say with this vending machine that somebody in the 1970s is stocking it, and they're taking all these quarters out, and it says like, "Well, this coin was minted in 2009, but this is 1971." Does the guy handling the bag of coins have a look at them? Or they just sort of go into the bank and get counted automatically, and people like in the 1970s, numismaticist says, "Oh, this quarter has got a 2010 and President I'm trying to think of like someone who's never a president. President Mike Tyson? Who's that? That doesn't sound like any president I know. Our president is Margaret Thatcher or Nixon." No, that's it. Nixon, that's the American one. Dime is 10, nickel is a 5. There we go. But there's probably numerous examples of like where you've probably dealt with something from an alternate timeline. You didn't realise because it was so subtle. I mean, it could literally have just been a 5-pence piece, but, from an alternate reality where Queen Elizabeth only reigned until, I don't know, 2001 or something, and then King Charles took over. But there's been times when I know 2 stories, personal stories, where people have been in a time loop, and I'll start with my dad's story, and then I'll tell my one. So my dad told me he was in this village, not far from Abingdon. Actually, I'm not sure if our audience members are aware. There's this town to the south of Oxford. It's called Abingdon, and there's a little village there, and like most places in England, there's little villages everywhere. And in this village, he stopped near the church, and the priest was there, and he was asking him for like some directions, saying, "Oh, what is it you're doing here?" He's like, "Oh, that's it." He says, "Well, look, my friend and I, we're going to set up a hi-fi system in the manor house. Do you know it?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, follow me." And he got talking with the priest, and he noticed that with him that it just seemed that the way of him was talking was quite formal. And then after a while, he noticed that the clothing as well was 18th century. He says, "Oh, is it a special service?" And he says, No, it's just, I just noticed your cassock. It's like, "Oh, this is my normal attire." And so after a while, he got talking with the priest, and he said, "Right, here's the manor house, and good luck in your endeavours." And he got in there, and after a while, he looked back on the road, and the guy had just vanished. And he got talking with and they said, "Oh, did you find it? It's quite difficult to find." He says, "Oh, yes, the priest guided me there." It's like, what priest? The priest isn't in. Well, there was a priest there, but he vanished. No, that's a ghost. Yeah, you saw the ghost. So my dad was talking about hi-fi to this vicar from the 18th century. And what's the 1700s? Yeah, that is the 18th century. And the thing is that the English is not too dissimilar from the 18th century, so they'd have been able to understand one another. Although I'm not sure what a ghost would have made of a hi-fi system or electricity for that matter, but either way, they seemed to have a perfectly normal conversation, and it was only later on when my dad got to the place did he understand what was going on. So, he encountered a man from another time who just happened to be in that. I suppose he was tied to the land. You'd think he was. He's guiding people to a manor house.
Another category of ghost where they're time slips, not like you're not. It's a bit where the veil between the two. But then again, wouldn't like this? I suppose that couldn't happen, could it? Because like that person would remember being hassled by blokes in shell suits all the time, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Noticing that the fashions change from time to time. It just
gets. This gets.
Do you think it works the other way then? Like, do you think we go? Well, yeah, obviously we go back and then.
Well, in this story, I just like the Sorry.
Yeah.
I just like the idea that a priest has decided no, he'd like her to remain as a ghost on Earth to help people in finding this rather hard to find manor house, because it's quite important that people get to there for whatever reason. So he's taken it as a divine calling. What were you saying, Fraser? I didn't.
I'm just worried about if the effect of shell suits on the 18th century. That's all I'm worried about. These time slips.
Well, the thing is, we can do my story later. It's a bit sort of harder to tell because it's not as coherent, and that's why I'm going to bring it up. But I mean, we did go over that story of like the guy hitchhiking with a jerry can, and the guy saying, "Oh, you're going to a fancy dress party because it looks like you're got a 70s attire."
Yeah, and then the bloke disappeared. Didn't he? That's all.
Yeah, but that ghost smelled like some ghosts have smells with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, could they be kind of time slips? But surely you'd be like, "What the fuck's going on with this bus?" Like that registration plate. It's not possible. Like you'd notice enough about the boat.
Would you though?
The bus and the person.
Would you?
Yeah, if you're from the 70s and you see like a modern bus with like a current number plate, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb to you, isn't it?
That guy was probably stoned out his face. He didn't know where the fuck he was. Right?
Swamp gas on Venus.
Yeah, like he probably didn't notice, and before he did, it was too late, right? I mean, how many people really notice things like that? Like, this is the thing. Like, how would people aren't that observant, really?
I don't know. I think you would. I think you'd notice that. Hobbit.
There would be points because my dad said like with the 18th century priest, it's like at first really, I suppose like if you're just wearing like a normal priest's attire, it hasn't changed much over the centuries. But he said there was things like the way he was talking, just it seemed not quite of this time. My story is a lot simpler than that. Is it
because he was saying in it bled? Bruv.
Bruv. Shut up.
Mate. Yeah,
bruv, shut up.
Yeah, bruv.
I'll summarise my story, and then I'm going to have a comfort break, and then I'll come back and talk more about it if people want me to. I was with my uncle in this place called Chipping Norton, and we were just walking around this near the abandoned railways, and got caught in I want to say it's a time loop. It was very strange. I think this is more a case of space distortion than time distortion, because we kept walking around and I was like, oh, okay, I'm done exploring this place. Let's go find our way back. And every time we tried to find our way back, we'd end up circling back towards this place. And it was a tree and a river. And I remember the tree had a certain bend in it, because I said to him, lift me up so I can hold on to that branch, because I was young enough that I could just, do pull-ups quite easily. And we came to about like 5 or 6 times the same tree, and I was getting like sort of quite worried at the time, because I just thought, well, what's going on here? We're walking in a straight line, but we keep circling back to this. Like, why are we coming back to this area? And I've never been there since. I should ask him about it sometime, see if he remembers it, and say, look, what was going on that day? Was it? Because we did eventually find our way back, but it just seemed to be that place was like, it was having a game with us. Like, I was sure I remembered the way. And I was like, you remember the way? And he's like, yeah, it's this way. And we kept walking that way, and we walked past some bushes. It's like, well, we've ended up in the same area again. It's bizarre. Anyway, that's really the entirety of the story, and if Morty gets come back later. But anyway, be right back.
Right then. So I've found some stuff here. Let's talk about some time slips then. So this is from the New York Times. How I became obsessed with accidental time travel. I'll forget all the blur, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Right, time slip anecdotes. Fucking hell. I know, that's just someone rambling on about their own bullshit.
To Time slips away from you. Ramble about your.
Yeah. I was initially skeptical. Vague language. Oh, here's a classic. Like the best of these stories was related secondhand on a paranormal blog. In a Liverpudlian street in 1996, an off-duty policeman named Frank was going to meet his wife Carol in a bookshop called Dillon's when suddenly a small box van. I thought he was going to say a small box. I thought he was going to talk about a TARDIS. That looked like something out of the 1950s sped across his path, honking its horn as it narrowly missed him. More disorienting still, Frank saw that Dillon's bookstore had now had crypts over its entrance. Yo bled, I mean the crypts, innit?
Yeah.
Over its entrance. And there were stands of shoes and handbags in the window instead of new fiction. The only other person not wearing mid-century dress was a girl in a lime green sleeveless top. As Frank followed her into the old women's wear boutique, I don't know whether that's punctuated badly. I don't know whether it's the old women's wear boutique or the old women's wear boutique. I don't know whether whether she means it's for old women or whether it's old for women. The interior of the building completely changed in a flash. It was once again a bookshop. As with a spell of deja vu, the experience was short-lived and the time was regained. According to the blogger's detective-like report, Cripps was later determined to have been a business in the 1950s. Well done, mate. In response to Frank's slip, posters have told their own or related accounts where they've heard from others. This happened to my ex-boss, Glyn Jackson, in London, England, one begins.
Oh.
Glyn's story is highly believable, as Glyn is the person who lacks imagination on such a scale. He could not, obviously great friends these two, that he could not put together a grade 1 story for English to save his life, and on it goes. Oh great, don't tell us the story then. I've never appreciated stories about the passage of time. I resent, and then that's it. There you go.
Oh, that was a cock tease, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got this great story about my
I got
boss.
this great
I'm
story
not going to
about
tell it though.
being in England, but fuck that.
Yeah. Because if he ever reads this, I'm fucked. No, it's like, yeah.
Oh, how about this
So,
one then? So time slip anecdotes. So though fashioned out of the ambient dread of living with the ticking clock, are childlike in their sense of wonder. They are light and playful, irrational, frivolous, folky, blah blah blah. One poster as a girl used to see a woman in a blue bathrobe in her room. Her hair was long and messy, a reddish brown. I didn't see her face because she was usually turned away. I used to mistake her for my mum. Years later, grown up, the poster's daughter slept in her former bedroom. One day I realised I was wearing the same blue bathrobe, the mother writes.
Ooh.
Oh,
wait, she got red hair as well?
Yeah. Red, brown, yeah.
Damn. What, could she seen herself in the future?
Yeah, the future.
Damn, that is trippy. Yeah, that is something.
So there's another one. Oh, okay. So, blah blah blah, midlife crisis. The dysmorphia of living in a human body. What ailed Miss Smith, whose car slid into a ditch after a cocktail party, and he witnessed groups of Pictish warriors on the late 7th century, circa 685 AD, if not an understanding of her smallness in history's vast expanse. Why did two academics famous? Oh, I missed the start of that one then, because awful stuff.
Who wrote this?
It's just the groups of Pictish warriors was the only bit in quotes. Okay, so. Why did two academics famous in the time-slip community for writing a book about spotting Marie Antoinette in the Versailles grounds encounter trees that looked lifeless, like woodworked in tapestry? Perhaps in that instant, like the last queen of France's ancient regime, they felt radically out of joint with their present moment. So, yeah, some of those are quite interesting. I've got some more. Oh, excuse me. So that's New York Times. Spooky Isles. This is from the Spooky Isles website. Quite a good website, actually. Time slip examples. There have been many examples of time slips. Bold Street and Rodney Street in Liverpool have ample reported time slip phenomenon. Like the last instance recurring in 2009. But the most famous case involves the principal and vice principal, again getting cock teased, aren't we? Of St Hugh's College, Oxford. Charlotte Ann Mobley and Eleanor Jourdain. On 20th of August 1901, the ladies were visiting the Palace of Versailles. Oh, so this must be the one.
Yeah.
While walking in the gardens of the Petit Trianon, obviously Hobbit would be better reading this, they claim to have encountered...
what do you want me to read?
Go to the
pronounce
Spooky
French.
Isles article, Hobbit, in general.
Oh,
Spooky Isles time slips.
in general, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the last thing we got there is shark science, which is very, very important.
We need to go down a bit. New York
Oh,
Times.
checking to see if you're a human. Click on all pictures of a Coca-Cola vending machine. Now, what's this called? This thing you're reading here?
SpookyIsles.com time slips.
Time
slips. What is it? And how did it happen?
Oh, not the mysterious case of the time slips.
No.
The time slips of Bond Street.
Just above the picture of the woman holding a pocket watch.
What is a time slip? MJ Wayward investigates.
Yeah, we can do that next.
Oh, okay. There's a woman holding a time slip. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got loads of them.
Yeah. I found a few.
SpookyIsles.com time slips. There we go.
So then you want to skip down to just below the picture. So examples.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
While walking in the gardens of the Petit Trianon, I mean, Hobbit is a thing, right? Just to say, this might have happened to you. This might have even happened to a proper skeptic like Ian, where one day he's just walking down an alleyway in London, and in this alleyway there's nothing to identify it as, but he's actually gone back to the 16th century. And then by the time he's got to the other end of the alleyway, it's back in the 20th.
Dom said he's
again.
going to start walking around with a shell suit and a mullet so people think he's time slipping.
Well, wasn't that the entire premise behind Goodnight Sweetheart? He walks down an alleyway in London, and now he's in 1940s London. Yeah. Whilst walking in the gardens of Le Petit Trianon.
And then he's his own
claim.
I think they should have changed it so he was his own grandfather. I think that would have been the best way to end the series.
Yeah.
Oh, what, like Back to the Future?
No.
That's
Futurama. It's Futurama.
Yeah, Futurama.
Red Dwarf.
He's his own
they claim to have encountered people in an old-fashioned attire, whom they later assumed to be members of the court of Queen Marie Antoinette. They also believed to have glimpsed the Queen herself on the day of 1792, when she and the revolutionaries had stormed the Tuileries Palace. A book about their encounter called An Adventure was published in 1911. Year of our Lord 1911 AD.
Yeah, they don't.
You know that story
about expand on these stories, do they?
No.
You know that story of the Seattle spooky Coke vending machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with those tossed Coca-Cola bottles. You need to Dr. Fraser Crane to read that story out.
Yeah. So do you want to read?
Do you want me to read them all?
Go on then. Yeah, do them all if you want.
The Simpsons and the Gisbys at a time slip French trip. Oh, they got a picture here, which
speaking of time slip French trips, did you see what I put in the 37 for you about Dr. Omega, the French Doctor Who?
I've got a picture of Mush's dinner. Is it Thousand Island dressing with potato wedges?
Oh, it sounds
so he's got breaded chicken, mushrooms, broccoli. Potato wedges, and I think it's Thousand Island dressing.
That's right, doesn't it?
I'd eat it.
Nice bit of dinner mush. No, it's quite. His name's Dr. Omega anyway, Hobbit, and he's French.
Oh, I've been looking at the Corona bottles.
Yeah.
Sparkling Corona. Make sure to get your boosters.
It's way up. I'll tell you what. I'll find it and then I'll forward it again.
Okay, whilst you're doing that, this one's got my attention because there's a picture of a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, which is a book written by Samuel Clements. That's
They made a film of it, isn't it? What's it actually? What's the film called? I can't remember. Is it An Astronaut in King Arthur's Court? They made a film of it anyway, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know, but isn't it an engineer? Like, because that's the thing. He's because you see, I've often sort of daydreamed, like, if I went back to the Roman times, how would I tell them about, like, crucible steel and high purity copper, teach them locomotives and
Hobbit was
railways,
like,
and
what are you on about, Hobbit? This is we already
and
got that, you know.
Well, the first thing I'd sort of convince them on. Well, this is assuming, right? I'm going to people that aren't as technologically advanced. I'd be like, right, you like steel, don't you? You struggle with making steel. Do you want to make high quality steel? This is how you make high quality steel. Right, now you can mass produce your Lorica segmenters and what have you, and your swords and that stuff. But then it'll be like, so you spend all this effort making roads and stuff because you want to get your troops marching to and from quickly. What if they could be there in hours instead of months? And you're just like, right, we're going to do a locomotive. But Connecticut, now I'll read the story.
Yeah.
So anyway, my daydream, turns out Samuel Clements had the same daydream, but he called his one the Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Whereas I just like the idea of going.
The film's actually called A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Bing Crosby's in it, the film.
All right. Another widely
like an
publicised
Disney version of it. There's a kid in King Arthur's Court. That was in 1995. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Another widely publicised case concerns two British couples, the Simpsons and the Gisbys.
The Simpsons.
In October, the Gisbys.
Yes, indeedly doodly.
In October, year of our Lord.
Is it Ned Gisby? It's got to be Ned Gisby, isn't it?
Well, maybe they're neighbours in Shelbyville called the Gisbys. Yeah. So in October 1979, they were driving through France en route to a holiday in Spain. Coming across an extremely old-fashioned looking hotel in Montélimar, the couples decided to stay the night as other hotels in the vicinity were full. Well, to be fair, though, there are extremely old hotels in France, which are just modern.
Yeah.
They found their surroundings basic but comfortable, and the locals were dressed in clothing more similar to the fashion at the turn of the century. Costing only 19 francs for their entire stay. Oh man, that's a good deal. The couples thought they'd been in error and quickly left. On the way home from Spain, they decided to stop by the hotel again, but they couldn't locate it. But it must be a bit weird, right? Like, I don't know much about French currency prior to the Eurozation.
No, Hobbit, the kicker is at the bottom.
I'll read that in a bit. I'll read it in a bit. But if I was like a hotel concierge and be like, so the stay is 19 euros, I hope you'll be paying. And, you hand over some like modern French notes and it's like, the guy looking at it's like, I don't recognise this as legal tender.
What the fuck is this? What are you trying to do to me, bruv?
Are you trying to buy a banana with a counterfeit $20 bill? So, photographs. What? So, hang on. On the way home from Spain, Star Hotel, but not locate it. Then there's a picture of King Arthur's Court.
Yeah.
Samuel Clements.
Yeah.
Photographs were taken in the middle of the film roll, but when developed, there was no trace of them, even from the negative strips. So, did these people actually travel back in time, or just encounter a haunting? Is there a yet undiscovered scientific reason for this fateful phenomenon?
Unless they were sleeping on dirty beds.
Is there a yet undiscovered scientific reason for this reported phenomena? Or could these people be caught up in some sort of paranormal occurrence where, like an old film, it replays... Let me just have a look, right? Let's just say early 20th century French currency. Because I know what the French livre... No, I said early 20th century. What is it with search engines, right? You put in your thing and it's like... Well, here's a coin from 1794.
It's like to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did search engines go from?
If you go to Our Time Slips Real, it's a bit more fleshed out. It's a lot more fleshed out.
Okay. I'll look at that then. But I want us to have a look at the French franc. Here we go. The French franc. I'm using Bing instead.
For France, 90s.
That was 1999.
It was sort of early 2000s.
Yeah,
I seem to remember it.
I was in school when it changed over to Euro.
History of the French franc. There we go. Right, let's have a look at some 20th century examples.
L'Histoire, a bit.
Yeah, but I'm looking at an English website. This would have been... Why can't Mush be on these shows? He'd have been good at this. He'd be like... Yeah. He's into numismatology. The study of coins. Oh, this site can't be reached. That's good.
Which one?
I'll go on Wikipedia. That'll give me some photos, won't it? Oh no, it won't give me any photos because fuck you. A practiced French bayonet charge. I don't want...
Fucking hell, my computer decided it just wanted to shut down, but didn't. Thank God for that.
You got those Windows updates where it's like, I'm going to shut down in 1 minute. Yeah, I'm giving you a 1 minute warning.
Yeah. That was close.
Yeah. History of the French franc, the bottom line. So no examples of... I just want to look at some French coins. Let me see what coins and notes from the earlier 20th century, 1950s and 1990s look like. Is that too much to ask for? Apparently, it's too much to ask for. Look, chat. I'm going to look in the Rumble chat because that's the only one that matters. Do you know what a website that lets me look at coins from across the years are? Because I really want to know what it looks like. Because in that story, I don't mean to poke holes in this. I fully believe they went back in time. But maybe the receptionist was just like, well, it says French francs on it. I'm just going to accept it and not cause a fuss. Because that bit to me seems weird. Doesn't it seem weird to you?
What are you looking at?
Well, I mean, I know for a fact that our currency... Well, I mean, our currency had a big change in the early 70s with decimalisation.
Well,
so prior to then...
Would be a big pointer, wouldn't they?
I don't know what they use for French heads on their coins because they didn't have royalty, did they? So I think they just had a picture of
the emblem.
I think they had a picture of Lady Liberty on their coin. You know what? I've got a French franc from 2005.
Well, I'm just having a look at some French francs. There's all sorts. There's Roman emperors and shit on
there. Wow. I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
Right. I've got my plate of coins. I've got a 2 franc coin here, and this is from 2006. And on the back of it, it's Lady Liberty. She looks a lot like Britannia, but she's got a shield with a cross on it.
I bet. French francs.
Yeah.
Go. Have a look at that. That's got loads of pictures of francs on it.
But I've got a French franc on me right now.
Oh, that's a real conspiracy there. Maybe they changed over to euros to hide the Tartarians shit. Maybe.
Oh, sorry, no, this isn't a French franc. It's a Swiss
Napoleon.
franc.
Sorry, it's not a Roman one. It's Napoleon. Yeah. It tells you around the side.
I've got a 10p piece. One Louis from
Louis Philippe the First is on the side of one.
I've got a 10p piece from 1973, which was bigger, like the size of a shilling. I've got a Deutschmark, which has been discoloured brown. I tried to polish it. I'm sure I've got some French francs in there. What's that one? République Française. That's more like it. 20 centimes, and that's from 1987. And it's got a picture of some bird on the back. I don't recognise her. It just says... can't make out
that one.
République Française, yeah. So I know what a 97...
Yeah.
Isn't that Lady Liberty again, no?
Yeah, I think it's Lady Liberty. And this coin's from 2014. What is it?
Libertas,
it's a... I've just got a collection of various foreign coins that are...
that's... is on the back of another one.
Oh, it's $0.25, and that's from...
$0.25. 25 cents.
In God We Trust, Liberty. When was this manufactured? 2014, right. Minted, I should say.
Napoleon was quite common on the back of the franc, wasn't he?
What, in the 20th century?
I don't know what year it's from.
A 10 pfennig coin from 1985. So is that from the
Fucking hell. Oh, that one with Napoleon III on it is
Bundesrepublik.
1,902 quid.
Wow.
Yeah. Dom saying the French franc is originally a gold coin. Yeah, that's not really like the Wikipedia's not that helpful. I wanted pictures of it. Les Républiques Françaises, 1 franc from 1968. Like, yeah, this is from 1963. This coin, really, this is remarkably good condition. This coin. And it's got a picture of
1917 gold 20 French franc coin from bullion by post for £440.80.
Yeah, but not gold francs. I'm talking like I've got a 1 franc coin here, and it's silver, and it's from 1963, and it's got a picture of what looks like an olive branch on it, and it's got égalité, fraternité, and liberté. Like they're fond of that motto, aren't they? The French.
I think we need to get to the point of this. This ain't making very good.
Oh, the point being, right? If I was Kentucky 1792, 2001. Sorry, I've just this is another $0.25. There we go. Right, yeah. Sorry,
Dom seems to know his coin stuff. The French franc was originally a gold coin issued in France from 1360 to 1380. Then a silver coin issued between 1575 and 1641. The franc finally became the national currency from 1795 until 1999.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But you're not like, well, you know how our coins have changed. Like the 1973 10p piece I've got is no longer legal tender because it got replaced with a smaller one. Like the 5p coin as well. That got replaced with a smaller. I remember when the 10p piece.
If you think, like, when did these people do this? They did it turn of the century, didn't they? 1901, was it?
Well, that's the thing, and I just thought to myself, like, if you had like some 1990s era French francs,
did used to hang about because, like, I remember when I was a kid before they started messing around with the coins, we still had shillings in circulation that used to use as 10p's because they were.
Well, that's what my dad said, and yeah, and he said they were treated the same. So if you had a shilling, you could use it.
Yeah,
but it just to me, I would be like, if I was there, I would literally be like the Japanese guards with the man from Towerhead saying, like, look, I don't recognise this passport. I'm going to have to call my superiors just clear this matter up. And if I was the concierge in that hotel, I'd be like, well, this is some very interesting currency. Look, enjoy your stay with us.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna confirm with my managers about this, and then be like, hey, call the gendarme. I think we got a case of counterfeiting here.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you've been sent to investigate
counterfeiting by adding extra.
Imagine you're
by adding 100 years to the coin.
Imagine you're Inspector Clouseau and you've been sent to investigate a matter of counterfeiting. And you look at the currency and it's like, well, it looks like a French franc. It's the same dimensions, but it says it was minted in 1989, and we're in the year of our Lord 1911.
So if you go to Our Time Slips Real Hobbit, it
Dom Alfkakris found some collection of collectible French coins. Let's have a look at these. So, 1970, 5 francs, I recognise that. 10 francs is a gold coin. Oh, that's nice. And 1 franc from 1990. Yep, that's the same one. The horrible 10 franc coin, which just really hated that design. It's like our one. It's bimetallic.
That's a nasty.
Yeah, République Française. I remember that coin. So yeah, when did they start using the bimetallic one? Because imagine like you've got that. Now, for those that have never seen it, it's got this real sort of funky typeface on the 10 franc coin that looks very different. Imagine you go into like an inn in the early 20th century and you hand them that, and they'd be like, "What the fuck is this? Why are you insulting me with this? This Mickey Mouse money?" Well, they wouldn't even know the time Mickey Mouse, would they? Because in 1911, Disney wasn't around in France. It's like, What is this blasphemy? This is not
Why you give
currency.
me toilet paper? Why is there toilet paper with funny writing on it?
Look, occasionally she likes to work out. That is what they do. But yeah, no, God, how hard is it to find
memory
you know, this is. I mean, was there like a certain period of? Was there a certain period of time where like French coins were minted with the windmill of friendship on the back instead of Lady Liberty?
No, what is the old French crest? That's what I thought the French coins had on it. The
fleur de lis.
Yeah, that's it.
That would have been that would have been on the tail side, not the head side, though, wouldn't it?
I always thought it had that on it, right? The fleur de lis, like.
Let's see if I can find some.
Because that used to be the old French flag, didn't it? Like that used to be like.
Here we go. So here's a collection of coins from 1917, and the 1 franc coin, it's got the same logo as it does now. It's an olive leaf. The 2 francs is the same. I imagine the coins. Yeah, so the French coins have had the same designs on them, but they're different sizes and they're probably different materials as well. 50 quid if you want all 3 of those coins. I think. I tell you what. Like, you know how what's his name, Doc Brown in Back to the Future, and he's got those suitcases filled with various like stacks of dollar bills from different eras.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when he's just like going, it's like, hey, can you do me a good deal? And it's like, oh yeah, you want this stack of $50 bills from the 1950s? That's $25,000 in 1980s money.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought, as it's not in use anymore, it'd be cheaper. Like, imagine you getting free coins for 50 quid. And I know it says rare fine, but come on.
Right. So, do you want to open up our time slips reel and
what? Carry on with the story of time slips?
Yeah. This puts a bit more meat on the bones. It's got the hotel story at the top. Is the first one.
The mysterious case of time slips.
No, our time slips real.
Our time slips real.
That's the next one, and it's the next one under the previous one, I think.
Yeah, let's click on that one then.
Oh yeah,
let's have a look
that's
at
the
that.
woman with a pocket watch.
If any of you people are interested in numismatics, get in touch because. Yeah, I know. I am interested in coins, and I like them. I like the designs on them. Well, yeah, I didn't realise it was a point of autism for me, but it is. Some scientists believe time travel is possible. Our current understanding of science means we can't achieve it. The Vanishing Hotel. In 1979, 2 couples, Pauline Simpson and Len and Cynthia Gisby.
Imagine a world, if you will,
where people from alternative timelines converge together. Geoff and Pauline Simpson and Len and Cynthia Gisby. It's Geoff with a G. Yeah. So Geoff. Looking for a place to stay near Montélimar, they found a motel. No, not a motel, you dickhead! There's no such thing as motel in the early 20th century. They were hotels.
Isn't it a contraction, motel?
It means motor car hotel. I fucking hate Americans and motel. Yeah, that's it. Well, it's where motor cars go.
People call Romanis, they go the Alps.
Yes. John Cleese. Sorry, I was running over my headphone cable. I shouldn't do that. Really, it's not healthy. I know it says it's got a Kevlar sheath, but the copper underneath is fragile. Looking for a place to stay in Montélimar, they found a motel where they parked their Cadillac vehicle.
They didn't find a motel, they found a hotel, because they were in France.
No, you don't understand. I wrote this article. They found a motel. They found an 18th century motel.
Well, that really would be a fucking time slip, since there are no motels in fucking... Well, there probably are.
They found an 18th century motel where 18th century automobiles went. The 18th century automobiles is why every city from San Francisco to Sydney Sydney in Australia, not Sydney in Alabama, got regraded. All the cities got regraded for the automobiles from the 18th century.
For that, Hobbit? I'm just going to ask every show.
No. We should send him another message on the Twitter. I can't remember his name now, but I really wanted to know.
Who's the regrading guy, Fraser?
Skeptic magazine or Skeptoid magazine?
Skeptoid, I think.
What a stupid name, Skeptoid. Tardoid. But they were told there was no vacancies and they should try further down the road. So they set off and soon found themselves down a cobbled street. They paused to take an interest in an oddly old-fashioned sign for a circus. Soon they came across a long, low stone building.
What's the difference between old-fashioned sign for circuses and brand new signs for circuses?
This one was old. The couples went inside and were shown
names in them.
The clowns in the modern circuses you have to respect and not laugh at.
Yeah.
The couples went inside and were shown to their rooms. The windows had no glass in them. They were just simple wooden shutters. And the furniture was basic. There were no pillows, no telephones, nothing remotely modern. No elevators.
Been, a bit high on heroin, strung out, and they just went into an abandoned house.
Even in the 18th century, people did have pillows. After eating a meal of steak,
we went over glass, didn't we, in the Joseph Paxton? But
oh yeah. Well, you know, some rural places in France, glass would have been an afterthought. I mean, I have grown up in a house which had wooden shutters. It had glass windows too, but those were a later addition. So
are we giving them a pass on the glass then?
I will. Actually, let me just double check where Montélimar is, because I think if it's where I'm thinking it is, it's in southern France where wooden shutters are more prominent. Montélimar.
Where the weather's better.
The further south you go, the more you get wooden shutters and less like. Montélimar is literally half an hour from Montpellier, where I grew up. So yeah, that is wooden shutter territory.
Yeah.
By the way, I need to get in touch with Ollie. I need to see if she's found me some suitable wives. Now, the couples went inside. But anyway, they had a meal of steak, eggs, and beer. They retired to bed.
Did it taste
imagine
because they seem to taste.
Imagine having 18th century beer and steak. Oh, that's got to be probably good, hasn't it? At breakfast in the dining room the next morning, they were stuck by some bizarrely dressed individuals. A woman in silk evening gown came in carrying a dog. It was strange, Harleen said. It looked like she'd just come in from a ball, but it was 7 in the morning. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. Policemen wearing uniforms, later identified to date from 1905, also set down to it. This is where the story becomes more credible. Because having seen Franks from 1905, I can say, 1990s or 1979 Franks wouldn't gone amiss.
Yeah.
And would the guy you're giving the coins to go, oh, it says 1979 on that coin?
So the sizes are
later
the same and stuff. I mean, they
the sizes.
They could have had some older Franks in their pocket anyway. Like I said, like you do have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If the coins, if they don't change the fucking coin sizes every 5 minutes.
Because why do you want shopping trolleys?
Yeah.
Later, paying their bill, the couples were astonished when they asked for just 19 francs, which is just over £2, to cover their stay. 2 weeks down the line, on their way home from the holiday.
Fuck me, this is cheap, but they didn't give him a tip. Type bastards.
Well, I thought, it's a discount because there's no telephone and I couldn't watch French telly on it. No electric or anything. It was a bit drafty with wooden shutters on the doors, but, you do what you do. They decided to stay at the hotel again, but it was no longer there. Well, when in Montélimar.
Yeah. And
developing the rolls of film they'd snapped with their camera. All the negatives of the photos they'd taken at the hotel were missing. Does it not just seem a bit odd? Wait, you've got like a modern 1970s camera, and I know people from like 1911 be like they know what photography is. It's like there's a bloke with a tripod hides underneath like what looks like where you hide the budgerigars. So imagine like they got something
they're talking about their new science oven and eating fondue, and these froggies just ain't even the slightest bits as like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Or like, oh, you have a camera. That is an interesting camera. The flash in it. That
they're talking about. I can't wait for the new Bee Gees single to come out. And these French.
If I was.
Must be the English. Yeah, who knows what they talk about?
I mean, okay, me, if I was a Frenchman in the early 20th century, I'm probably not as autistic as I am now. So maybe I won't go like, your camera looks different, and when you do a flash, there isn't a puff of smoke from the quicklime igniting. Yeah. You've just got a flash, which is a bright bomb.
I have to stand there for about a week.
Yeah, and.
Where did you get that miniaturized camera from? They should have been like, these people are fucking minted. Look at the size of their camera; it's tiny.
And what do you mean you haven't got a plate with silver nitrate on? You have to develop immediately. You've got it on the roll, like you've got a roll of film, and your photographs go. Wait, so you're taking more than one photograph at a time? You just have a reel of film. You can take multiple photographs. What is this Jessops of which you speak? You just buy rolls of film for £1. £1.90. How many francs is that? You pay just 1,500 francs for a roll of film. How many? You can take 38 photographs with this in color? Sacre bleu! What are they doing in Angleterre? I do not understand this. We should get the gendarmes here. Come on, look. Somebody there's got to be like, we've got to call the
back to fucking year 7 French.
We got to call the gendarmes, and the gendarmes are like, excuse me, Mademoiselle Gisby and Monsieur Simpson, you have not committed any crimes. We are just curious about your camera.
Fucking MI son can't cease, whatever the fuck they're called.
But if I was a gendarme there, I'd be like, I'm very interested.
MI wheat, or I don't know, something like that.
I cannot believe it's not GCHQ. But if I was the gendarme there, I'd be like, look, officially I can charge you with.
Hello, Jean Depardieu. These people are spies.
Look, officially I can charge you with fraud and counterfeiting because this looks like a franc, but it says it was minted in 1979, and
they disappeared
we are in
1905's justice system.
Yeah. God, imagine you've been transported back to an early 20th century prison because you got done for Well, you got done for counterfeiting. It's like, look, I'm not counterfeiting. That I went to the Bureau de Change, and that's the currency they gave me. Likely story, tell it to the judge. Baffled, they returned 4 years later again to try and locate the hotel. They never found it again.
Well, they're not looking in the right time, obviously. Duh.
Well, right place, wrong time.
That's because MI5 got the place, set fire to it.
They swept it all up.
Yeah, so they jammied it all up.
They didn't do it for free. They did it for the princely sum of 19 francs.
Yeah. Dom says your David Kidd Jensen impression is spot on, but not as good as your Gordon Kay impression.
Who's that?
David Kidd Jensen used to be he was a Canadian DJ that used to be on Radio 1.
Oh, okay. It's very esoteric references.
It's not esoteric. He used to be on fucking Radio 1, Hobbit.
Well, that's a bit esoteric for me.
Yeah. So what do we think to this one then?
It causes more questions. Well, look, I am going to say it's credible, and I'm going to say
the big question's got to be did they just spank the money on the side and fuck off? Because it sounds like they fucked off, doesn't it? Because there's the whole and I quote, it seemed a bit cheap, but we fucked off, isn't there? A bit.
What if you can...
Costing only 19 francs for their entire stay, the couples thought there'd been an error and quickly left. So they just literally banged the money on the fucking side and fucked off, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, look, if ever I get into a situation where I suspect I've gone back in time, I'm probably going to fuck off because I don't want to end up in like a prison in World War One era France. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm going to be like, guys, you're... excusez-moi, but what year of our Lord are we in?
Well, look at the man from Towred. Like, don't know what you're talking about. This is a myth. Never seen him again. Disappeared. Nobody knows who he is.
Didn't he leave his passport, though? That's the thing. Didn't he leave his passport?
The thing about the man from Towred is, it seems to be in the same region where we got this place called Andorra. And people are just pretending, oh yeah, Andorra is a real country. It's existed there for thousands of years. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? The area between France and Spain is mountains. I mean, I know you've got a few villages on that bit, but you can't have a country in that place. And I'm looking at it right now, and it's like, yeah, Andorra. It's like
they could if
they they're saying like
they could if they all had houses on stilts like Tony Stark from Iron Man.
But Andorra, it's not even the size of Greater London. It's smaller than that. And they're just saying, oh yeah, this is totally a real country.
Well, it's like Liechtenstein, isn't it? It's just a tax fucking right.
Well, Liechtenstein I could believe to be a country, because it's just like it's the Germans' equivalent of Luxembourg, and it's our equivalent of the Jersey Isles.
Maybe it's a
for
Spanish
tax purposes.
version of maybe it's a Spanish version.
But no, Andorra, it's not a real country. I'm sorry, but this is it's French and Spanish clay. It's not real. It's just a meme that they put on Google Maps to like, let's see how many people try and do holiday. In fact, let me do it now. Yeah. Let me just go. Let me type in holidays in Andorra. Let's see if I can get if there are any flights there. Andorra holidays, trail finders, lastminute.com, cheat Andorra deals. Let's do this now. Yeah, welcome to the country of Andorra. It's not Towred. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Oh, here we go. Oh, this is quite good. £40 per person. Next to a thing. Oh,
Hobbit, do you want another time slip story? It's got way more questions than answers.
Yeah.
You go on then.
Right, in 1971, a pickup truck trundled up to a cattle pasture near Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Ponca City?
Ponce City?
Ponca Bonka?
Ponca Bunga. Oklahoma, stopping at the gate. Its occupants, Carl, Mark and Gordon, had been sent there to pick up a meat.
Carl Marx, okay. Right,
Carl
the
Marx
story's
and
good.
Gordon love it. Had been sent there to pick up a feeder. So remember, they've been sent there to pick up a feeder. So we opened the gate, which was barbed wire with no lock, and entered. Went onto the property, which was covered up with grass, up to and over the hood of the truck. They drove their pickup through the grass to the feeder and got out. We realised the tank was almost half full and too heavy to load, Carl said. We decided to leave and drove around a red barn, and we saw a large 2-storey white house with no lights in front of us. So they went back to their employer and explained, and their boss said he drained the tank so they could pick it up the next day. So their boss said he drained the tank.
Oh, just to interrupt you briefly. Yeah, so it turns out in last minute, it's like, oh yeah, Andorra, part of Spain.
So remember, they were sent there. They spoke to their boss, and the boss said the guy would drain the tank so he could pick it up the next day. So we went to the location to retrieve the tank the next night, Carl said. This time we decided to go through the old white big house on the hill and brought our shotguns. Okay, for people that were told they could be there, no problem. Okay, sounds legit. What they saw was incomprehensible. The house, was no longer there, Carl said. We walked up the hill where it stood. There were no signs of demolition, no foundation, nothing at all. What we all seemed to witness the night before was no longer there. We have talked to each other over the years, but none of us can begin to explain this vision. So the boss has spoken to the people from this house that doesn't exist, and the boss said the bloke would empty the tank in the house that doesn't exist. So, one, who was his boss talking to? And two, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, and why bring shotguns if they were invited?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a theme in both the story my dad told me where the vicar guided him to the manor house, and the Simpson and Gatsby couple in Montélimar. The people from the past seem to be completely nonplussed with new technology. They just sort of brush it off. So my dad's talking about hi-fi to this vicar from the 18th century, and this Mr. Simpson using their 1970s era camera. Just no one's like curious at all about the modern technology. I wonder, is there some sort of like, tying this into the grand paranormal unified theory? Is this like touching on the dream realm? Because have you noticed the thing, like in dreams, people, despite using like mobile phones all our lives for the past 10 years or so, I've never encountered a mobile phone in my dreams.
Could they, rather than time slips, be dimensional slips?
Yeah, but then it still wouldn't. Well, maybe, but then that's multiverse stuff.
Time and space. It's just there's a lot about this. It doesn't seem to make sense. What I'm going to do is, I thought, just for curiosity, I'm going to go to an airport in south of France. Let's go with. Have we got any place near Andorra? And then I'm going to make it fly to Andorra. So yeah.
For science.
Yeah, for science. Yeah, that's it. Select departure.
This is where the Frank. The Frank geezer that I talked about earlier. The same story's in here, only he was going to HMV to look for a CD.
Right.
So he walked near the post office.
We don't do CDs, sir.
He was going
that technology hasn't been invented yet.
Is HMV still around?
Yes.
It's Master's Voice.
Just about, yeah.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, only this one, he went in and Frank followed a young woman inside because Frank was a pest. And watched in disbelief as the interior snapped back to Dylan's. The girl was still there. Frank grabbed her arm, asking her if she'd seen the same thing. She replied, "Yes, I thought it was a clothes shop. I was going to look around, but it's a bookshop." So same story, but two completely different stories.
Wait, so she saw something different to what he did?
No, she saw the same as him. She thought it was a clothes shop, so she went in there.
Yeah,
and it turned into a bookshop.
Yeah.
Which suggests that it was like not a localized phenomenon.
Right, okay.
So there's another one in Liverpool. Involved a teenager named Imogen who'd went out shopping to buy some baby clothes for her older sister, who'd just become a mum. Imogen noticed a new branch of mother care had opened on the corner of Lord Street. She went inside and selected some pretty items, including polka dot bibs, pink velour cardigan, all at surprisingly low prices. However, when she tried to play with her credit card, confused staff told her they couldn't accept it. Not having enough cash, she went to another store before returning home. When she told her mum about the new mother care, Imogen was irritated to find her mother refused to believe the store existed, as she knew it closed years before and was now a bank. Her mother banked there. The pair quarrelled and decided to return to the site, and sure enough, the mother care was no longer there. In its palace, I think that's supposed to be place, was a branch of HSBC. Dun dun dun.
Interesting.
Oh, Andorra is known as a duty-free retail hub.
That's nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to find where the nearest airport is, and Toulouse is to the north, and there's one in Spain, but
yeah. Yeah, that is so. Yes, well, they seem to have a problem with the technology there because they couldn't accept the card, right? I mean, how many years back was that before
why
it came
did they say
HSBC?
we can't accept the card? Why didn't they go, "What the fuck is that"?
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Like,
why don't they go,
they obviously
what the fuck
didn't.
Is that?
Like, what? Yeah.
Why didn't they go? We can't accept this because it's not even in date for another 5 years or whatever.
That technology hasn't been invented yet, sir. Yeah. Are you a time traveller?
Yeah, I mean that's it. How long ago was this? Like, I mean, debit cards have been around for a while, right? And paying by card. That was like 2005. Was that started to be a thing?
No, Access.
I think.
Access has been around since the early 90s, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Access used to be a credit card, yeah. That's where the phrase "your
But
your
I mean, like
flexible
paying,
friend" comes from.
but I mean, like paying with a debit card or a thing like through a
debit
card.
Debit card's a lot more
Yeah.
recent, isn't it?
Yeah, because I remember that it was like 2005. Like, 'cause before then, you had to also like go to your local bank and it had to be the same branch or you couldn't
that
get
was
your
when you
money
used to
out.
have to sign, didn't you? You put your card in and sign it.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know what I can't even find like the four digit. You know, all airports have. I'm sorry, this is really bothering me now. All airports have a 4-letter designation, like Heathrow's EGLL. I can't find the 4-letter designation for this.
3.
Apparently,
it's 3 because Los Angeles is LAX.
Yeah, I know, but LAX is also like if I go LAX, like the 4-letter ones is so Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Angeles is KCIE or KLAX.
What the fuck?
Yeah, KLAX is. There's a 4-letter designation because at one point there was like, if you use 3 letters, that's enough for all the airports in the world. But now there's like thousands of airports. So,
so
what's the not?
Digit then,
Yeah. LESU. LE. Right, so we'll type in LESU. There we go. Seo de Argel, which is a different name to what it's called in real life, but hey ho.
Oh, Ian's on Rumble now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, user 7478. Yeah, let's fly that one then.
Yeah, Pontin's Prestatin is gonna close. I bet the one where Holiday on the Buses was filmed.
Oh, Prestatin, boy!
You seen Holiday on the Buses? Are you a big Holiday on the Buses fan?
I didn't like any of the on the buses stuff.
No.
So yeah, time slips is it's a strange thing. It is an interesting phenomena, and I do think Well, I just want to say, like, it's one thing just to report like the findings, but my conclusion from this is, I think there's something going on with this time slip stuff where, like, surely, like, you should be able to say that's not right. I'm sorry, mate, but your currency is from a different time, or your camera hasn't been invented yet. We want to investigate you because we think you're a spy.
Well, either that or the people in the past are aware of the time slips and like know that this stuff happened.
But why?
Which is a bit bizarre, right?
I was minding my own business in 1950, and this bloke appeared, and he was like wearing some weird shit.
And why is it if you can only you can only go back into the past and not the future?
How would you know if you were in the future?
That house one could be in the future.
It could be, but that's the thing, right? Yeah, it never seems to be the future, right? Where it's always going backwards. Yeah. So far in all of these ones, it would seem, right?
Chaos 243 is saying, "Would you do Olive, Ian?" About on the buses.
Oh, I didn't like her.
She was in EastEnders. She was Peggy's sister.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Would you go on? No, do not go. Yeah, I told you, Chaos. Anyway, do you ready for some more time slips of it?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, am I?
So, on a bright, crisp Sunday morning in autumn 1957, 3 trainee soldiers walked into the village of Kersey and suddenly found themselves in medieval England. How they knew this, I don't know. As Andrew Mackenzie explains, one of them, William Lang, who was a keen observer of the countryside, was also certain that the trees and grass changed to the colours of spring during the time slip. As they approached Kersey from the countryside, the three soldiers could see the church with its tower on the hill and hear the bells ringing. About 100 yards from the church bells abruptly cut out, and there was an unnatural silence, not a single bird call or breath of wind. Houses looked extremely ancient, and there were no people, no TV aerials, telegraph wires, or street lamps, or people in shell suits. At the stream, there were white ducks, but they were, Lang stated, so quiet and lifeless as to appear almost like decoys. Through the tiny cottage windows, the boys saw no sign of life or habitation, save for what appeared to be a butcher's shop. Here there were 3 skinned ox carcasses, green with age, surrounded by cobwebs. As they squatted by a bridge over the stream, the soldiers' sense of eerie sadness shifted to a sense of outright evil, although they were surrounded by hostile watchers. After about 25 minutes in the ghost village, they accordingly took to their heels and could suddenly hear the church bells once more and see smoke rising from chimneys where there had been none. Modern images of the church suggest that it simply could not have disappeared from sight. This may indicate the soldiers had slipped back some way before the 12th century when it was first built. That doesn't seem quite like a time slip, though, does it?
Well, it is.
It's not cool. How is it the same?
Well, the ducks,
well, they've gone. Well,
yeah, but the ducks are lifeless and almost like decoys. It was like a time slip and frozen as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. That isn't. Yeah, but it's just the descriptions of it, like where they said, "Oh, it's ancient," right? You know, the houses are ancient. Like, you know, well, that's not a very very descriptive thing. What were they like?
Yeah.
You know, that isn't. Is it? It's always frustrating, the details. Like, okay, then we could probably, like, you know, identify like the period. But okay, yeah. So I see what you mean when it's frozen.
Yeah, it seems like it was frozen, and they had the weird feelings, like the evil. They felt the evil. That's a bit weird as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the evil, if it's like it's not quite evil. It's more a case of like, oh yeah,
this doesn't seem right.
You don't feel like you're there.
Yeah, maybe it was a gut instinct, kind of like catching up to them, like thinking, "Oh,
well, here's an example of something I wouldn't describe it as evil, but other people would say, "Oh, it's definitely unsettling." Have you ever heard the sound of a carynx? It's this like Celtic bronze instrument used as it's war horns, basically. It looks like a dragon. It was on my Twitter earlier on. Let me see if I can find it on the YouTube. Oh, well, that's the thing. Carynx sound. Oh, carynx sound. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I found it. Here's one. It's a music festival. I'll just post that to the general, and then you can see it yourself. And when I hear it, I get not just like hairs on the back of my neck stand up, but the hairs on my back and the. You know, my sides tingle and my thighs and everything. It's like
one in action of it.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if you go like through time or something, do you get when you go like pressure drop and so on, your ears pop?
Yeah.
Maybe when you go through time, you feel like really unsettled.
Could do.
I thought he's got reverb on this, but I realise it's not. It's just the way it sounds.
So, in the early 1920s, writes Janet Board, a boy and girl living in Flackton, Arkansas, or Arkansas, as Hobbit likes to say, walked through the silent town.
Where? Arkansas, yeah.
Arkansas.
That's the right name for it.
One Sunday afternoon, when everyone was at the baseball game and took a shortcut to the ground through a pine wood. Robbie and Anne presently came to a stream they'd never seen before, and after crossing it, they were met with completely unfamiliar countryside, Gone was the scrubby undergrowth and knobby pine trees, smelly dog fennel and Jimpson weed, the chattering sparrows and screaming blue jays. Along with the strange silence reported by those soldiers in 1957, the pair also felt a kind of dreamy languor as they walked on hand in hand. All the vegetation looked different, whilst ferns were dozens of times larger than the ones they usually saw in bogs. On reaching the small rise they saw off in the distance, the Blue Diamond and our friends, they could hear voices from the game, but these sounded tinny and disembodied. Anne and Robbie watched the game until it ended and presently recrossed the unfamiliar stream. When they looked back, the dream world had vanished. Notice that here those within what seems to be a time slip are also looking forward into the expected scenery of their own time. So that's another weird, dreamy... Because this sounds like the sort of thing that fairies do to people. These time slips...
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like crossing into the fairy world, doesn't it?
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, fairies do that sort of stuff.
I mean, what if you walked into one of these and you never came back? I mean, could that be an explanation for some of the missing 411?
It's in the realm of possibility. I can't discount it. No.
Yeah. Because these people literally disappear off the face of the earth, don't they? In these 411 things. And
Yeah, but these guys come back from it. That's the only
I always
difference.
assumed they got sucked into caves and became part of Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be that, like, you you have the robo dialers doing it for the call centers, like the old fairies have the robo dialers, and these people manage to walk in and walk out with actually meeting any of the people that live there.
Mm.
True.
Just the theory.
Why would the Celts design a musical instrument like a dragon, a totally mythical creature which doesn't exist? Oh, but dinosaurs are real,
Like
but you can't look at the bones.
That one looks like
because
the one I found.
Well, most of the ones I've seen, it looks like a dragon to me. I mean, it's got some stylized horse bit. Yeah, well, dragons have got manes, haven't they?
Could be a Kelpie hobbit.
Yeah, could be. But the ones I've seen, they look like dragons. So, oh, and by the way, yeah, dragons aren't real, but dinosaurs are. No, you can't see the bones; they're all radioactive.
Well, I'll tell you what we might do next time. 10 unbelievable facts about Mel's Hole. That sounds
all right.
That sounds like one to tease people. I don't even know what Mel's Hole is. I mean, would we want to be talking about Mel's Hole? I don't know.
Mel's Hole and why you're going to be in it.
Yeah. What's going to happen to you in Mel's Hole? Nobody knows. So I've got some more. I've got 10 of these from this one. Do you want another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
So in a book, Time Storms, Jenny Randall gives the 1973 account of Paul, who was then 21 years old. Around 2 a.m, he was driving home from a dance, passing through the East Midlands village of Little Houghton. Ooh, where's Little Houghton?
I've heard of that. Little Houghton.
That's Bedfordshire, because he says Bromham next. He had drunk very little, knowing he had a long drive home. Just after passing the church clock, he lost all sense of time and presently found himself on foot at Bromham, many miles away. His car was gone. He was soaking wet, although it was not raining. It was now 7 a.m. A friend helped him find his car, which was now in a muddy field near Turvey, about 15 minutes' drive from Little Houghton. The gate into the field was locked and there were no tyre tracks in the mud. If it's argued that Paul had merely had a blackout or was in some kind of fugue state, the location of the car in absence of any accident would remain very hard to explain. Many similar versions of this experience have been reported, and a man named Paul Rainbow had one in Little Houghton in 1988, which involved a sudden motorcycle failure, a strange egg-shaped white glow in the next field, and that familiar descent of total silence. He seemed to lose an hour and a half in moments. We are clearly in some very strange territory here, but in both cases the witness have effectively travelled forward in time.
Forward? Okay, alright, okay, so we potentially have a forward motion now.
Yeah, but he's also missing the time, so he's not travelled forward in time. He's done these things, but the memories are gone, aren't they? Oh,
to him, it's not.
I think I've found a time slip forward here.
Okay.
This will be the next one after this one. In summer 1959, writes Richard Davis, the British actor Alan Helm was working in a theatre in Bradford, not far from the Bronte village of Haworth. Before performances, Helm liked to walk out on the moors, which inspired Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. He'd done this walk many times in the past 4 years. One fine day, he strode out, reaching the ruin known as Top Withins around lunchtime. There he saw a man in a deerstalker hat with a shotgun. Then when the man disappeared, Helm went forward to the ruin to look for him. On his way, he suddenly found himself looking down at a big Georgian farmhouse. He ran down, knocked the door and peered into the windows to see a table set for lunch. He could smell pigs and hear cattle, but when he entered the barn, it was empty. Looking back up to Top Withins, he found it had vanished. He briefly saw the deerstalker man once more, and now badly spooked, more or less ran back to Haworth. During his experience, Helm had checked his watch and found it had stopped at 1:45 p.m. Just before the curtain call, he checked again, as of a long habit, and saw it was telling the right time of 5:45. Although he had not rewound it. If you've never been to Top Withins, do look at maps and images. The ruin is the only building in sight at this formidably remote spot. So Jenny Randall.
Oh.
What do you think to that one then? That sounds more like your traditional time slip, doesn't it?
I really like the idea that I've gone back in time and I've gone to a pub and it's from the 12th century.
Yeah.
And
you throw your 19
somehow
you throw your 19 francs on the bar after you've had your beer and leg it.
It's just like you give them a pound coin and it's got the bimetallic bit and they look at it and it's just like, I don't recognise this. Oh, well, I've got a collection of old Roman coins. It's like, oh yeah, we'll use that. Because in the 12th century, they'd still use Roman coins because it's the silver that's worth something. So I could have paid for a meal there. This is what someone told me about. Like, say you got a coin, like a gold sovereign, which is what, an ounce of gold?
Yeah.
And that's what? It's worth, what, £200, something like that? Now, in the modern day, you could buy a decent meal and a decent set of clothes for the cost of one sovereign. If you went back 1,000, 2,000, 6,000 years with that same coin, you could still get a decent meal and a decent set of clothes for that same coin. People might look at it a bit odd, going, what do you mean AD 1901? But they'll be like, oh, it's gold, it's an ounce of it. Yeah, I'll take that. And, you know, here's a cloak and here's a decent meal. So it's always been the same value. I like the idea of going back in time with like a modern gold coin. It's got like, I don't know. Oh yeah, get one of those Ron Paul coins. Let me just see if there's any for sale. Ron Paul gold coin.
Ron Paul.
And you go back. You remember the Libertarian candidate in America? Yeah, and you've gone back to a 12th century time slip pub and you hand them a silver coin with Ron Paul's face on it.
Jenny Randalls recounts a very different military training exercise from Kersey occurring in Chile on 24th of April 1977. A small unit of soldiers on a training exercise. That night they camp on a plateau at Pampa La Scuma, 12,000 feet above sea level. Their commander is Corporal Armando Valdez.
Oh, sorry to interrupt your thing here, but this is a real bait and switch, right? It's a 1 ounce coin for $125.
Yeah.
Ron Paul gold standard. It's $9.99 fine silver round.
Just before.
Imagine it'd be me like saying
it's not affecting your nap because he's labelled it correctly.
It's a bit like, oh yeah, it's real Coca-Cola, Pepsi Cola.
It's
what?
Yeah, but the happiness index is up because Ron Paul's got some money off you.
You know, gang rape also improves the happiness index. I mean, when surveyed, 9 out of 10 participants enjoyed gang rape.
Right, just before 4 a.m, a soldier named Rosales sees something strange. He calls Valdez. Coming towards them down the mountains with 2 violet lights. The ground underneath is glowing oddly. Perhaps these are flares, a mock attack. Valdez wakes the others, and at 4:15 he goes to investigate what is now one large glow on the hillside, a few hundred yards away. The soldiers crouch behind a wall and cover him. Valdez disappears. So too, moments later, does this violet glow. The soldiers wait in silence. Then at 4:30, Valdez reappears from behind them. He's not well. He appears to be sleepwalking. He presently collapses on the ground. At dawn, things get rather interesting. Soldiers who have seen Valdez shave the previous night. Oh, okay, yeah. Soldiers who have seen Valdez shave the previous night find that he has several days' growth of beard, and they find his watch stopped at 4:30 a.m. It also has a date function, and this reads the 30th of April. Valdez has severe memory loss and very poor coordination, something which is reported time and again by people who have had similar experiences. They cannot so much as open a door. This sometimes lasts for days. Randall's asked that the CIA agents who interviewed Valdez found him convincing and consistent. Some versions of this case confirm that Valdez encountered a UFO, which in the circumstances is as good as an explanation as any. So that's a time slip forward in time, but not the kind we wanted.
No, exactly. I want to see the future. Well, I mean, there is that story of remember the bold plumber guy who like crawled into his fucking sink and then appeared in like the future with himself. He took a photo of it. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
that's like an old famous one. Yeah, I don't know if that ever turned out to be like debunked or faked or whatever, but it looked pretty.
I'm debunking.
He had the same tattoo basically, right?
Yeah.
And the guy did look very similar to himself. But yeah, like that kind of thing, like, you know, going into the future, meeting yourself, you know, kind of things like that. You know, light on the details of these ones, isn't it? But yeah, I want to see the future, what it's going to be like, so we can be really sure we're going to have flying cars and shit. But at this point, I doubt it. But you never know.
I can put some more meat on the. Do you want to read your Versailles one again? I bet.
You know what? I'd love to read again.
Yeah.
The man from Talredge, because I think that is pertinent to this episode.
Go on.
Yeah.
And this may be the first time someone has ever heard about the man from Talredge.
And chucked it in general when you're ready. The Versailles one.
Oh yeah, I'll do that one first, because so on the 10th of August 1901, that's year of our Lord 1901, or 1901 Anno Domini, Eleanor Jourdain and Charlotte Anne Moberly visited Versailles. Moberly later recalled, as they were approaching a wood in the grounds, everything suddenly looked unnatural. The trees flat and lifeless, like wood worked in tapestry. They passed a man with the dress and manner of an 18th and 19th century dental man
what
who greeted them.
What does that mean, wood worked in tapestry? Like a wood worked in tapestry. So it looked like
I've never heard it before.
So it was like pixelated. Is that what they're saying?
Wood worked
painting,
in tapestry,
basically, right?
Yeah.
I guess, like on the backdrop of, I don't know, painting.
Yeah.
Well, a tapestry, isn't that like silk work?
No, tapestry is probably more like the what's it called? That big long tapestry, the Bayeux tapestry.
Yeah.
So I'm
Is
wondering
it
whether they mean
stitching?
pixelated, whether it was a glitch in the Matrix. Then.
Or cartoonish.
Wood worked
maybe
in tapestry.
like a painting.
I've never heard of that. If I search the phrase, search with googly there.
Well, the phrase is
wood
worked in tapestry, so they're saying the wood looked like it was worked in tapestry.
Woodworking tapestries for sale. It's like a tapestry that looks like wood?
No, the wood looked like it was made out of tapestry.
Yeah.
It's an unusual turn of phrase. It may be like, if you're in the early 20th century, that makes more sense to you, but they passed a man with the dress and manner of the 18th and 19th century gentleman who greeted them politely and tried to explain they were forbidden to pass through this section. He pronounced "faux" as "foot."
Oh no!
Interesting.
Is that bad? Is that a faux pas?
I would really like to. C'est la faute de. de fous de entrer. No, give me context. Don't just give me one word like that out of context. He had seemed to appear almost from nowhere. They both presently concluded they'd experienced some kind of haunting. They also found that...
What does faux mean? That means forbidden, doesn't it?
No, foot. Let me put it in Google Translate because
it's faux because he pronounced faux as foot, so faux is the word.
Well, it's a bit what's it called? Come on, brain, you're near the only time I've ever heard the term foot is, oh no, that's foutre. That's different. It means to fuck. But let me just go and translate. Cause I need to know what this word is.
Oh, sorry,
it's something I'm unfamiliar with. Well, no, he was being must. So faute means must. Il faut aller là. Il faut. Yeah, but how would you use it in the phrase? Because I'd say c'est interdit d'entrer ici. Cette région, c'est pas pour le public. C'est privé. So I would say it's interdit. What's the English word for interdit? It's you're interdicted.
Yeah.
When you interdict someone, you're saying that this area is indicted.
Look at.
But anyway, the French word.
What CE stands for? He thinks it stands for Common Era.
It's Christ's era. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows.
It's the era commonly associated with Christ's era.
Yeah.
Now let me have a look at this.
Is the answer.
The common event. Yeah, that's it.
What was the common event?
Oh yeah, and then so I put foot into French, and it's not tiare. It literally just says, foot means fuck.
Oh, okay then.
So right, let's get back to the thing. He had seemed to appear almost from nowhere. They both presently concluded they had experienced some kind of haunted. They also found that the 10th of August, 1792, was the day in which Versailles had been sacked during the Revolution. Lourdain made another visit on the 2nd of January 1902. Just after crossing a bridge, he was gripped by the same feeling of oppressive unreality. After seeing people in old-fashioned clothing, heard the sound of silk dresses rustling behind her. She turned and saw no one. A few minutes later, as though still clearly visibly alone, she felt people jostling past in the crowd from behind and heard the words, Monsieur, Madame, close to her ear.
Ooh.
She also heard the faint music of band playing when she later made inquiries. She found the band had played on New Year's Day, but not the 2nd. And with so many well-attested paranormal cases, the Wikipedia account of this affair is another intensely biased view given by the usual nameless pseudo-skeptics. Do try the book instead, which sold over 10,000 copies when first published. Now, I would like to add to that. Do you remember when we did the episode about planned cities?
Yeah.
That was quite a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, shortly after that, and we never really did an episode about it, but I found that planned cities, especially Paris, is far more interesting than Washington, D.C. I probably did something about Washington, D.C. because it was topical at the time, and that's why it came about. But anyway, so when I was doing the study of planned cities, now, you know the Arc de Triomphe, and there's also a smaller arc in the Palace of Versailles. There's also a massive arc, like further out from the city, which is a 4D hypercube. And the 4D hypercube, as far as I'm concerned, was like it's an expression of how we live on the flat Earth inside a globe model. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Versailles is a charged area. The energy of France points towards it. The ley lines go towards it. It's a special area. So, of course, you're going to get hauntings because there's energy from all sorts of time periods in that place. I mean, and I know people shit on.
Yeah, you bring that up. Like the ley lines, maybe that's what causes it.
I know people shit on Stonehenge saying, "Oh, it was erected in the 1920s, and here's the video proof of the cranes doing it." Well, I believe that, But I also believe that the ley lines point to Stonehenge. I've been to Stonehenge myself. I've touched the stones. They've healed broken bones in my fingers and toes. And I've seen the spirits gathering around them. And my erstwhile friend, who's a dickhead and is a selfish cunt, and I don't like him, but he was a friend at one point.
Yeah.
He is very sensitive. Epileptic seizures and all that sort of stuff. Very sensitive. He sees ghosts. He was saying, "Oh, look at all the mist going." I was like, "Yeah, that's the spirits. They've come to join us." When he touched the stones, he recoiled from them like he had an electric shock, and I well believe that when he touched them, he did get zapped. Whereas when I touched them, I just felt a warmth going through me.
Yeah. Hobbit?
Yes, hello.
Hobbit. Oh, you're there.
I'm done. I'm done.
Is that your point?
Yes, my point is done. Stonehenge, Versailles, hauntings.
Okay then. Stone tape theory.
Yeah. Well, there's something going on with timelines,
This one's
aren't
a bit
there?
weird because they don't actually figure out who these people are. So, on the evening of 28th of June, 1812, between 7 and 8 p.m., Anthony, your favourite century, Fraser. Anthony Jackson, 45, and 15-year-old Martin Turner in the fields at Havre Park, near Ripley in Yorkshire. Turner suddenly cried to Jackson, "What a quantity of beast!" Following his gaze, Jackson responded, "Lord bless us, they are not beasts, they are men." On the summit of a hill, there had appeared a body of soldiers in white uniforms, commanded by a figure in scarlet. Marching in various formations, they passed Jackson and Turner about 100 yards away. A second army, dressed in dark uniforms, appeared behind the first, presently forming an L shape with the white-clad troops. There seemed to be no hostility between the two units, who each numbered hundreds. But after both had passed over the far side of the hill, there was a burst of something like smoke, thick enough to hide nearby cattle for around 2 minutes. Turner later recalled distinctly seeing the arms of the first army glinting in the evening sun, whilst the smoke somehow akin to the mist which had enveloped the phantom house in Rougham. I think I skipped that story. Anything to add on that one?
Maybe.
He hasn't even got any ideas as to what period
What it was.
these soldiers are from.
Yeah.
And my last one is a fairy fair in 17th century England. Readers have noticed that some of these cases look just like ghost sightings. To complicate matters a little further, 17th century witnesses often thought time slips to involve fairies. I'd still do, to be honest. Around 1635, a man was riding home past a hill called Black Down near Taunton in Somerset. He suddenly saw on the side of a hill a great company of people, apparently assembled for a country fair. There were pewterers, shoemakers, peddlers, with all kinds of trinkets, fruit and drinking booths. Realising it was the wrong year of time for a fair, he decided to ride into the gathering and learn more. Having them in view clearly, when the rider came into the assembly, he could discern nothing at all. Only seemed to be crowded and thrust, as when one passes through a throng of people, and all the rest became invisible to him until he came at a little distance. Then it appeared to him again as first. He found himself in pain, so hasted home, where being arrived, lameness seized him all on one side, the dude was having a stroke, which continued on him as long as he lived, which was many years. This lameness sounds oddly like a partial stroke. Still more telling is the exact echo of that invisible crowding and jostling of unseen people which Jourdain reported at Versailles. These weird physical effects, along with the flatness, unreality, depression, or sudden cold, are some of the most compelling and joint features of time slips across hundreds of years, thousands of miles, and every possible kind of witness. What do we think about time slips then, people?
It's really something I don't understand at all, and it's kind of frustrating because like other shows I've come in and I was like, oh, I've got an explanation for what's going on here.
Yeah.
But with this stuff, I'm grasping at straws, and I do think it's probably got something to do with ley lines.
Oh, well, hold on. I mean, like the thing that's interesting is like if you can leave something behind in these time slips, Could that be an explanation for the certain artifacts that are found in tombs, right? You know how people find watches and stuff
Well, actually,
like that.
I'm literally looking at. Hold on, let me save this image and then put it up.
Stuff like that.
This image was found in a mummy's tomb, and it looks like a mummy wearing trainers.
Yeah.
So this one here, and they look like jeans as well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, carry on, Fraser.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. Like that would be kind of like an explanation for why these certain things happen. Like I remember the watch in China or whatever. They opened that tomb, and there was it looked like something that looked like a watch. Things like that, right? And also, the hieroglyphs that everyone always points to of, oh, look, they had helicopters and flying machines in ancient Egypt, right? What if that was a slip forward and they just wrote down what they saw, right? From our time, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the evidence of these ones is very, limited, like the last, 800 years or something?
What about this one, then? For years, Andrew Basiago has told the story of Project Pegasus. Yeah. So you might know that you may or may not know the name Project Pegasus, because Project Pegasus was in Marvel Comics. The Thing worked there for a while. It was like a shady energy research place, and it's in the first Marvel Avengers movie as well. So it's funny how they camouflage this stuff under pop culture, isn't it? So Project Pegasus is the alleged covert time travel initiative that was funded and maintained by the US government throughout the 60s. Is that the one
where they went back to Abe Lincoln and stuff?
I haven't read it yet, so I'll let you know. Right. But perhaps the most interesting detail Appiuli saw is the existence of the so-called jump room. It was in this room that Basiago claimed participants such as himself performed their secret time travel experiments. Built using designs by the late Nikola Tesla, recovered from his New York apartment shortly after his death, the room housed what some would call a teleportation machine, consisted of a shimmering curtain made of radiant energy, a special and allegedly as yet undisclosed form of energy that is latent and pervasive throughout the cosmos. It is, if this story is to believe, what makes time travel possible. The curtain stood between two elliptical booms, and passing through it, would-be travellers could journey across vast distances and time itself. Basiago claims to have visited Gettysburg using the jump room, and that the experiments even took him as far as the planet Mars. Beyond that, there are a few other details about the mysterious jump room, and no physical proof remains. Did it really exist? Okay, so that's all we know about Project Pegasus.
Yeah. It would seem that you can leave stuff behind in these slips, right? It's only you that's slipping. If you leave something there, it will stay there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is interesting.
There's another one here.
Apparently. Okay. So it must be some kind of field, because obviously people don't time slip and leave their clothes there, do they? They don't come back naked.
You're gonna have to break reality, aren't you, to walk through it somewhere else, aren't you? I mean, God knows what God knows what the consequences of such actions are, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How about this one then? Chinese archaeologists found a watch in a 400-year-old Sea King tomb. Is this the one with Swiss on the back?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so someone's time slipped with a Swiss watch and left it there, and then some emperor's been like, "Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I think I'll have that."
Maybe
it gets buried with it,
like a King Arthur's court job, like the story we just said.
You know what's strange about that? For example, you could say, "Oh, some of these Greek artifacts, in fact, they're out of time. They shouldn't really exist, like the Antikythera mechanism." But was anybody bothering since then to make an analog computer like that? Because it seemed like a really specific device. Has anybody made one?
No, right? Official history will say no, right? So, yeah.
Has
what
anyone
about this guy? Have you seen this guy before?
Here.
Oh yeah, him. Yeah. The guy with the
Hobbit, have you seen this?
Supposedly
wearing a hoodie and a printed T-shirt as well. He's wearing a printed T-shirt, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've not heard about this.
Have a look on the screen. So it's the guy towards the right with the sunglasses on.
The really funky looking sunglasses as well.
On the right with sunglasses.
They're like goggles more than sunglasses.
Yeah, he sticks out like a sore thumb. Is that Sven from the show with I can't say his name.
Yeah.
Yes, the people that make the jokes and they play the Aqua Teen Hunger Force drops.
But yeah,
is it Sven? Is it Sven from the Aqua Teen Hunger Force podcast?
So this story is in 1940. Is taken in 19. So that picture is taken in 1941.
Yeah.
So he's wearing what looks to be a hoodie and a printed T-shirt with M on it.
Marvel. Yeah, it's a Marvel stan.
He's a Marvel stan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a woman.
He does look a bit out of there.
Ian suggests maybe the warmth going through you. Maybe the warmth going through you was because you pissed your pants.
There's the Charlie Chaplin one, isn't there? And there's
Chaplin thing, yeah, but the phone thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, somebody has recreated the anti-Kihara mechanism.
Yeah.
When did he recreate it then? Oh, he's English. Derek John D. Sonner Price, British physicist, and died in 1983. See, I just
in a paper. Hobbit. Do you want to answer this one?
Oops.
Wanted somebody to go back in time with me. This is not a joke. You'll get paid after we get back. Must bring your own weapons. Safety not guaranteed. I've only done this once before.
What? You must bring your own weapon. What? Okay, specific.
So, sorry, whilst just talking to you, I was having the autopilot fly me from Toulouse to Andorra, and the autopilot didn't seem to care that I was flying me into a mountain.
Yeah.
So I just was talking to you, and suddenly it was like, warning, pull up. I was
and then obviously everybody's favourite time traveller, John Titor.
Oh, what? Not the man from Tarred?
No, John. Is it Al Bielik? Who's your favourite time traveller then, Hobbit?
Well, for me, I know John Titor's better documented, and I can understand his motivations for getting that specific computer. But, personally, I'm just thinking to myself, hang on. The man from Talred is far more fascinating to me.
So apparently, the brief history of John Titor. Let's go over John Titor quick, and then that'll be us done. In 1998, late night paranormal talk show host Art Bell received two faxes from an individual claiming to have pertinent information on the nature of time travel. In the first fax, the sender, that at that time unnamed, detailed the discovery of time travel involving the particle accelerator at CERN in the year 2034. So we got about 10 years to go. He also claimed that a brick wall existed in the timeline and no traveller could breach the year 2564. The second fax, while less detailed, promised photographic evidence as well as scans of the traveller's time machine operations manual. This is some proper autism, isn't
it? Okay.
Yep.
That'll do me, I think, for that. We all know about John Titor. If not, have a look into it yourself.
And if you don't know about the man from Talred, it went to Japan, lives in what we call Andorra, but it's a country called Talred.
Do you want to see the time machine and the schematic?
Yeah, go on.
There you go. There's John Titor's time machine and schematic.
Wanted somebody to go back in time with me. This is not a joke. PO Box 322 Oakview, CA.
Wait 5 seconds.
Yeah. Now we got. It looks like a Geiger counter.
Yeah, it does very much, doesn't it? On the 14th of March 2001, John Titor shared his final message. I will be leaving this world line shortly, and this will be my final post. He wrote, true to his word, he never posted again. To this day, no one knows John Titor's true identity. Is it Al Bielek then, where his brother had come out of the woodwork? And they were both time travellers or something. I think wasn't Al Bielek the one who said he jumped off the side of the USS Eldritch and fell into the time stream?
Yeah.
I think that's Al Bielek, isn't it?
I don't know that name.
You don't know Al Bielek? You never heard of Al Bielek?
Have we talked about him in the previous episode? It doesn't seem to.
I mean, the old time travel episode. Oh, okay. Al Bielek. So, John Titor predicted a nuclear war in 2015 that killed nearly 3 billion people.
Oh.
Are you really surprised to find out
that
Are
nukes real
now, or is it just BS to whip everyone up into accepting the next war? So that's another one.
Out of curiosity, you know this. I know it's a bit of an aside, but are nukes real? Because the Fortean Words chat, there's been a lot of talk about nuclear weapons and stuff.
Another one of Titor's predictions. As a result of the many conflicts, no, there were no official Olympics after 2004. However, it appears they may be revived in 2040. Oh, and then here you go, Hobbit. Do you want some? Do you want to do some autism? The IBM 5100.
Yes, I do.
Go on then.
What is the IBM 5100 and why is it so important for time travellers?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read this bit out?
Here you go. Right, I'll copy that. I'll put it in it. Yeah, then just flick down to where you
because my dad
IBM 5100.
Well, yeah, because years ago my dad asked me about this. He says, "Hey, is there anything credible about it?" And then I looked up about the 5100 and I said, actually, yeah, it does make sense. You want to get this because it's like they can't emulate this computer and they need the actual runtime environment to do some legacy programs. So IBM, hidden function of the 5100.
Yeah. The
quote by Titor was loaded. The quote is, you mean the breakthroughs in high energy physics had an unknown and the unknown functions of the 5100, and that's from the 15th of February 2001. But of course, because it's America, they say it's the month, day, year.
Yeah.
The quote by Titor was loaded with allusions to our potential future and discoveries that would soon be revealed. I've covered the IBM 5100 portable computer in a separate article, but suffice to say that Titor mentioned a hidden functionality within the computer that really did turn out to exist. The functionality was likely unknown to the average consumer at the time of his posting, so it's curious that he would have known such a detail. So I've got to go to the opticians at some point. My eyesight's going. I know people say, "Oh, you can train your eyes," but yeah, I've trained my eyes to be worse. Titor's comments about breakthrough in high energy physics have almost certainly point towards CERN, who in 2013 announced the discovery of the goddamn Higgs boson particle.
Yeah.
The Satan molecule, not molecule, particle. Titor also claimed that CERN would soon discover the means of time travel, but now we're getting ahead of us. Well, that's why we're having all the Mandela effects. They're messing up timelines.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Can you share with me how you solved the overheating problem on your space plane? This was from the 13th of February 2001. This was such an odd thing for Titor to say. What space plane was he?
You've got to hand it to him that his last message was in 2001.
This is such an odd thing for Titor to say. What space plane? Well, yeah, I mean, 2000 September in that year. That's like year zero for all this like conspiracy stuff and weird things. I mean, I know they killed JFK before, and then that was a big deal. And there was also the Gaddafi bombing, Lockerbie bombings. But anyway, point being, the attacks which brought down 3 towers in New York in one day was a big deal. Now, many believe his comment here was an allusion to the Columbia Space Shuttle disaster of 2003, which occurred after a piece of foam struck the shuttle's left wing during takeoff. Upon re-entry, superheated air breached the damaged wing, leading to the disintegration of the shuttle. NASA's space shuttle program has been shuttered for almost 10 years. Well, it's more than that now. So perhaps it's not so unusual for Titor to refer to it as a space plane. From his point of view, the program would have perhaps been a forgotten footnote in history, something he didn't remember much about. He could also have been referring to Bell Labs' experimental, I think it's called the X-2B space plane. If you want to know
the
about...
Virgin one that everyone's booked on to fly?
No, this is a military space plane that's unmanned, and it's got the record for the longest unmanned vehicle that's been flying to and from space. And if you want to know more about it, freemantv.com, that's Freeman's website. He's got a section in it called Space News, and he talks about the X-2B. So maybe John Titor's referring to that. National Space Shuttle probe been shut. What's this got to do with the IBM 5100?
No, it's all done. The 5100 was just its own thing. So these are more of his predictions.
Well, if I type in John Titor and the IBM 5100, because I was looking into it, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense why you'd keep it. The Wikipedia article. Hackaday. There we go. IBM's only piece of tracks time travels. Did we do it like before? Because I know Nostalgia Nerd did a video about it, but you remember there was this thing about the communicating with people from the past using this word processor that had a dongle put in for the word processor. Back when programs would come on like a memory card.
Actually covered it.
Oh, okay, because that's definitely another sort of thing. 1980, IBM 51.
2004, Hawking revised one of his theories, bringing it in line with one of Titor's comments on the nature of Hawking radiation.
Ooh, no.
No.
So Al Bielek said that time travel was invented in 2034. Offshoots of certain successful fusion reactor research allowed scientists at CERN to produce the world's first contained singularity engine. The basic design involves rotating singularities inside a magnetic field. By altering the speed and direction of rotation, you can travel both forward and backward in time.
Interesting. With magnets.
Yeah.
Magnets, how the fuck do they work?
Well, obviously, time travel.
Rotating. What's a singularity, Hobbit, and what's a rotating singularity?
So a singularity's black hole. It's the point thing.
So it's not magnetics. It's rotating black holes inside a magnetic field. That doesn't sound like it could go wrong, does it?
So in order to make like a disc or an aperture. Because I think they say in theory all this stuff is rotating, because when it collapses, a skater, and they're spinning round and round, and when they bring their arms in, they spin faster.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if you've got a star and it's spinning round and round slowly, but as you draw in from like thousands of miles down to the size of a pea, it's going to be spinning really fast. Here we go. So, the brief 3-year life from 1975 to 1978, this is a 5100. 1.9 megahertz 16-bit processor, 5-inch CRT monitor, and you can have between 16 to 64 kilobytes of RAM, along with a fair amount of ROM. So I guess the ROM is where you'd have your program stored in. You couldn't do anything with it. That's weird. Yeah. Just for those following along at home, ROM stands for read-only memory. So once something's been put into it, that's it. That's all it's got. In fact, the ROMs with the key feature and a giant switch on the front let you pick between the APL ROM and the basic ROM, assuming that you bought. But I see. So right. So that's like APL, assuming that stands for assembly language, and basic for basic, and then
interest rate, isn't
it? No. I think APL is probably due to like different types of compilers. So. But based on whether you're going to use BASIC or APL code, you then load up that ROM pack, and then it would fire up, and you got like the computer, and then you can probably save.
That's what you don't do with a ZX81.
No, you don't, and then you probably save your faster disk, or if it's connected to a network, you upload it to the mainframe. Computer hobbies in the 1970s left basic, so this was the objective and desire for many. The entry price of around $9,000 squashed those dreams, though. That was even more money than it would be today. The idea was influential, though there was that was even more money than it would be today. No idea what that means. What, $9,000 in the 1970s is more money than what it would be today? Well, because of inflation. Anyway, point being, the idea was inflated, and there was even a dedicated book published about the machine. Like the HP computer, the main mass storage was via tape drive. Oh, not floppy disk. You can even get an add-on to make it work as an IBM remote terminal, or use the serial port for a modem. Alright, so if you use it as a remote terminal, it means you connect to a mainframe.
Do you know John von Neumann invented the IBM? Someone said that.
Okay. Alright, cool, yeah. A BNC connector on the back could be used to drive an external monitor. They're also called banana plugs. BNC connectors are great. You could get a coaxial cable.
Banana plugs are used for hi-fi.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. BNCs, they're
like
ring
inside
with
out RCAs. They're weird.
Yeah, but they've also got a bayonet lug fitting. So I used to remember using them for Ethernet back in the day. It makes it seem funny to think of a £55 computer with a CRT as portable.
Connectors in the garage, if anybody wants it.
But this was the time when computers sat on raised floors in special rooms with exotic power systems. Prior to this, the military had the most portable computer, which was also from IBM, which was an IBM 40. Yeah, but anyway, 5100. Why did Tita want it? Time travel. Maybe the oddest thing, though, isn't a technical thing. I don't remember being widely known that the IBM 5100 was really a tiny mainframe. It probably wouldn't be attractive for IBM to make that well known anyway. You don't want your bread and butter mainframe customers either planning to buy a relatively cheap replacement or complaining that you're charging them way more than this cheap device that does the same thing. However, in the year 2000, this became a key plot point in what was almost certainly a time travel hoax. Editorializing here by hackaday.com. John Titor claimed to be from the year 2036 and that the military had sent him back to 1975 to collect one.
Lying bastard.
Yeah. One of these computers. Why? Because after World War III, which supposedly would happen in 2015, they needed the computer to run old IBM software that they couldn't transport a several-ton mainframe to the future. Oh, right, I see. So this machine being that is thick. Yeah, because if it's communicating with mainframes, well, and it's plausible maybe, even though the predictions didn't come to pass, true believers simply say that this was a time travel to change event. We aren't buying it, but we have to admire that someone knew enough about the Iron to craft this story. Yeah, but, I mean, what are you saying? Is it because it runs a version of 1970s Unix? Because it's got the same sort of hardware assembly language compiler? What is the specific feature about this computer that's pissed me off? Fuck you. I'm done with this now. Go away, everybody.
I got some comments from that thing I was reading earlier. Scrambling up, Waylet yelled, "That bloody house!" That's the third time I've seen that happen. Bloody houses popping up out of nowhere. It's much the same where I live. One day I'll go for a nice walk in the fields. Next week there's a fucking supermarket there, or even worse, student accommodation. And another comment that cracked me up: in the college after a bender I ran into house I swore wasn't there before. Judge said otherwise. Oh dear. So I'll bet we done.
Yeah, we're done. Fuck you and not you. Fuck the IBM. Fuck hackaday.com. Hoax.
Fuck Hackaday.
Everyone knows it's the gospel truth.
Yeah. Dave is a spacker. Dave.
Spacker.
Yes.
Good night. Stay spooky. Woo.